race. Let's do it. Sprint, sprint, sprint. Lindblad. Why are you starting at the back of the grid? So the cars are going out doing their installation laps. But why is Arvid Lindblad at the back of the grid? Something has happened there for the RB. And let's see, unfortunately for Fernando Alonso fans, he was complaining again about his hand yesterday. So why Aston Martin didn't bring any upgrades, I don't know. I don't know. Did they take a 5-week holiday or something? I'm not sure. Welcome Eric, Von Eric, welcome Chai, welcome Vlack as well. Look at the mods, are just so quick in the stream as well. Best mods in the game. Literally best mods in the game. So yeah, Miami sprint race. See how the grandstands are. I've been some murmurings that the grandstands have been really empty yesterday and today, but I don't know how I think about that, how I feel about that, because obviously the whole sprint race concept is designed to make it more attractive on Saturdays. Does it actually work like that? Does it dilute it? I'm not sure. Best channel to mod for, too kind. Yeah, we're back here. I think we're going to be back later for the qualifying as well. And then we'll be back for the race. So I think we'll have done 4 streams by the end of the weekend, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool. And we did our little recap video on Formula Fan TV yesterday. And we've had some shorts come out, which has been great. So, yeah, let me try and get the standings right. But it is the sprint race today. Interested to see if the Mercedes will have just clearly better pace or not. George Russell didn't seem too happy yesterday in his post-sprint qualifying comments. Chai, Dutch live blood hasn't started yet. What's the Dutch live blood doing? Normally it's so ruthlessly on time. Welcome Pirate Dredge as well, good to see you. Hope everyone's doing well. It's super hot in the UK, I tell you. It is hot. Where is my mouse? Can you see my mouse? Is that my... Ah, okay. I was on the wrong screen. I had a virtual mouse. Sky Sports sponsored by Audi. Audi sponsors Formula 1 on Sky Sports. How can Sky... Are Sky meant to cover the sport impartially or not? Am I more impartial than Sky Sports? Because how can you... I really don't understand how you can broadcast a league, because Formula 1 is basically a league, and be sponsored by one of the teams in the league. It is like... It's exactly the same to me if Sky Sports was sponsored by Manchester United. Or if you're broadcasting the World Cup and you're sponsored by, like, Albania. I just find it very interesting. Or you're broadcasting Wimbledon and you're sponsored by Roger Federer, who's also playing. Does it mean you give more airtime to Audi? Does it mean you talk more favourably about Audi? What's the dynamic there? It's still 30 minutes, yeah. 25 minutes to go now. I need to update that, the like thing, don't I? Yeah, let me update the like counter. Almost made it to 125 yesterday. We were close. Yeah, I quite enjoyed qualifying yesterday, to be honest. Like I said, I wasn't not fatigued from Formula 1 yet. I just wondered by the end of this weekend, am I going to be fatigued or not? Let's see. I just feel like it's such a long season. The season is so long. And rumours they're doing some funky stuff at the end, like Saudis coming back in or something. Welcome Rogerio Buarque 1640. Good afternoon, Lance on pole. No, Lance is not on pole. Lance Stroll is, well, he would be last, but Lindblad has had some sort of issue. So Lindblad is starting from the pit lane. But it's about 25 minutes to go to the start of the sprint race. 19 laps. I can see a yellow flag's out, and I can see that Hulkenberg looks like he might be on circuit. So I do wonder whether Hulkenberg's had an issue in the Audi, and the reason I say that is it's not uncommon for the Audis to have issues prior to race starts this season. Do we agree? So I wonder if Hulkenberg in the Audis had an issue. And if he has, and therefore he can't start the sprint race, it's a crazy season for Audi, because on the one hand they seem to have reliability because they're actually finishing races. On the other hand, they had terrible reliability because they're not even making it to race start. So both are true at the same time. Yeah, do we know what's going on with Hulkenberg? Has Hulkenberg had some sort of issue? I'm not sure what's going on with the Nico Hulkenberg situation right now. He on the nothing on what is a Dutch live blog up yet? It's exactly when we need them. I'm thinking Nico Hulkenberg may have some sort of issue here. Come in, Nico Hulkenberg. Is that now double yellow in track sector 19? So let's see what's happened here potentially with Nico Hulkenberg. Oh, Hulkenberg's engine's gone. I can confirm Hulkenberg's that Audi engine is gone. The Audi engine has called it a day. That's not good. The Audi engine's on fire. Decent fire coming out the back of the Audi. That's not... I mean, maybe Sky Sports didn't want to show this as part of their sponsorship package with Audi, but I'm going to tell you, the Audi's blown up, and that's exactly why I don't have an Audi R8. Lots of smoke coming out of that. Blacker, why is everyone having issues? It's so wrong. I think it's new engine regulations, and we're starting to see engines and components that have maybe been stressed through a few races, I would say. Yeah, Nico Hulkenberg is out of the Audi. For some reason, Sky Sports really don't want to show it, and I have to be honest, I suspect it's something to do with the fact they're sponsored by Audi. But that Audi is toast. Nico Hulkenberg is toast. So, good news if you're Oliver Behrman and you want to get some points here in the sprint. Chai says, has it anything to do with the heat in Miami? Yeah, the track temp is a bit cooler, but the air temp is higher, interestingly. So maybe over the course of the day, it will bake into the track. So keep an eye on that track temp. By the way, there was big drama yesterday, massive drama with, I think it was Albon, who got through into Q2, but had an illegal lap. But the stewards didn't spot it in time by the time Q2 had started. So to punish him, they basically deleted all his lap times. It was all very messy. And that might be why Albon's now showing P18. Because there's no way Albon should be starting slower than starting behind Sergio Perez. Has anyone noticed that? Albon starting behind Perez. And remember, Ocon was knocked out in Q1, but here he's showing as above Albon. Good afternoon, BCR Esports. So there's been lots of confusion going on. Also lots of confusion about the super clipping, because there was a big change to the regs in the gap about limiting from 9 megajoules to 7. But that hasn't changed anything here, so it's just very confusing. Extremely confusing. Formula 1 at the moment. Max Verstappen didn't seem too... Well, there seemed to be some positivity at Red Bull that they'd beaten the Ferrari and a Mercedes. I was looking at it the other way. So what do you know about F1 driver Alex Zanardi? I read that he passed away. Yeah, Alex Zanardi was kind of like... In F1, he was a bit of a journeyman. He was never in good cars, or I think he went to Williams but that in like late 90s, but after Williams had really fallen off after winning championships with Hill and Villeneuve. But he then went to IndyCar or kart. They had their split, and he was really good there. I think he won championships there. But then he had a horrendous crash, like one of the worst crashes of modern times. Had to amputate his legs, but he was actually, I think he was just very happy to be alive, and then he became an Paralympic cyclist, and he absolutely dominated that sport. But then if I remember, maybe when he was training a couple of years ago, he got into a traffic accident, and he had another injury. So he's had a very eventful life. Yeah, there were flames coming out the back of the Audi. Not good. On the Audi front. And again, to me, this is like quite big news that Nico Hulkenberg's car's on fire. Like, I'd quite like to know what's happening with it right now. Have the flames been extinguished? Is it being wheeled out? But surely Sky are not going to show that if they're sponsored by Audi. Because to me, this is the most relevant thing to know about right now. Especially if it were to delay the start of the race. But I don't think it will do. There should be enough time. But Lando on pole, again. Isn't Miami where Lando... Miami's not where Lando first won. Remember 2 years ago, didn't Lando do really well in Miami, really well in Imola? But Max caught him. Well, no, wasn't Lando catching Max? Wasn't it 2 years ago in Miami and then Imola, Lando was really catching Max later in the race, and then Lando got his first win. Where did Lando get his first win? Welcome, Don Barracuda, good to see you. Thanks for the gifted yesterday. Oh, Toto Wolff speaking to Verstappen under the Red Bull umbrella. Bit of tapping up there. The cameras are on them and they know. Surely this is for the cameras. It's quite shocking scenes, actually. Oh, he won in 24. Oh, so that Lando got his first win. And then did he follow up by winning in Imola? Chai, Dutch live blog, McLaren team boss thinks Norris is able to win, but Mercedes has a fast car. Let's see. What do you say, McLaren team boss? Is that GP? That's what the rumours are saying. It's funny that the sprint... I think I know what's happening with the sprint races. Is that F1 revolves around this kind of like corporate hospitality circuit, and that's what makes F1 relevant to the people who run F1. That's what makes F1 relevant, is how many heads of companies and sponsors and so are coming to the races. And that's their key metric, in my opinion, because they're so personally exposed to those circles, and also maybe for their jobs as well. Like, they can always move to one of these companies and whatnot personally, so it's good for them that I think that's how they measure it, consciously and subconsciously. Having a sprint race allows you on the Saturday to also sell your whole corporate hospitality package, including a grid. That's part of the driver for sprint races, I reckon. Hamilton having 2025 nightmares. Don says, fingers crossed for McLaren domination. P1 saying Max won in 24. Hang on, who won in 24? Who won in Miami 24? We need to know. Risk of rain 0%. I thought there was a period where Lando was doing really well, even though Max was dominant. Because remember, 24, Max still wins the season, the championship, and Max started the championship absolutely dominant, because 23 was completely dominant. Miami 24 was Norris. Max was Imola before Miami that year? Because I think, wasn't it Imola? Lando got really close. Wasn't Lando gaining like a second a lap? And we were like, oh, maybe Lando's going to do it. And then Miami, Lando actually got it done. That's my recollection, but I could be completely wrong. Flavio Viatori and Fernando Alonso having a little moment. Of course, Fernando knew nothing about Crashgate that Briatore was banned for, but Briatore's still in the paddock. Some things don't make sense in Formula 1. Jenson Button's on the grid. He's now an ambassador for Aston Martin. Vlatka sharing is caring. Don't forget to share the stream. Yeah, I saw Vlatka share the stream yesterday. Please do. In fact, let's do a nation. Let's start with a nations check. Let's start with an old nation check. Let's get that rolling. Yeah, Sochi as well. Remember that one in the rain. Right, let us know where in the world you're watching from, everyone. Chai's first in from the Netherlands. Can't remember who won yesterday in the nations check, actually. Vlatka Croatia, again, the mods are just like so quick here. It's a front row lockout again for the mods. He got second. Yeah, it was good to see the minute silence. P1X from Mexico. PXT from Australia. BCR Esports from the Black Country. Wheels, have you got a podium prediction? Wheels, let us know where in the world you're watching from. Do I have a podium prediction? Okay, this is very unlikely, but I'm gonna say Antonelli, Norris, Russell. Antonelli, Norris, Russell. Martin Armstrong from the Netherlands. Kenny Woking down the road from McLaren. You must see a lot of McLarens zooming around the roads there. EP Beagles US 70 miles from the track. Not too far, not too far. What's the weather saying where you are? We're hearing like storms expected. Wills calls music from Australia. So we've got a couple from Australia. We need to keep doing the nation share and build them up. Only 10 minutes to go. Oscar Piastri's got a cooling noodle on, or a cooling snood, it seems. Chai says that Hulkenberg was able to climb out the car safe. He has no injuries. Yeah, did jump out, but the car was flaming out the back. And they'll have to work out what they're going to do for qualifying. Slovenly from England. So McLaren's back in P1. Wonder who's on the grid today for the sprint qualifying. Anyone that I recognise? I don't tend to recognise people. Any teams got upgrades that they're going to try and hide? Not sure. EP nice today, sketchy for the race. Could be very interesting some weather tomorrow. We haven't had a wet race yet with these conditions, with these cars, have we? Correct if I'm wrong. But some of the drivers saying they'll be faster in the wet than in the dry. It does seem a little bit weird, let's be honest. Not much you can do in 19 laps. DRS will be open though. Slovenly says it's probably extremely likely Leclerc leads into T1. Well, let's see. Especially for Hamilton as well. It's not the best first sector, I think, for the Ferraris. If that makes sense. It's not the longest run into turn 1. It's not like China, for example, or even probably Suzuka. My feeling is this is much tighter. You're kind of already looking into turn 1. So I'm not sure it's going to be as beneficial for the Ferraris. Let's see. Also, the regulation changes have happened to kind of like equalise or make things less unsafe for the other teams, however you want to put it. Chai is hoping Russell's car issues have been resolved. Yeah, but to be honest, Russell was also saying that he just doesn't really like Miami. He doesn't really get on with the circuit. Which is an admission. I can imagine it having some unique characteristics. Yeah, we'll see if the Mercedes are that strong. If the Mercedes car is strong, George Russell is going to want to utilise that to get as many positions as possible in the sprint. What do we think about previously? So hang on. So we used to have sprint qualifying. How did it work before? We had sprint qualifying. Then you had the sprint, which set the qualifying for the race, right? But then did we have a free practice after the sprint race? Because now we have sprint qualifying. No, sorry, now we have race qualifying after the sprint race. How did it work before? All this chopping and changing, I can't keep track. Zach Brown is at the circuit. Lando. Don says, yup, confusing. I can't remember. I was thinking though, surely there's some sort of combination of reverse grid and the sprint race is your qualifying for the main race. That's really interesting. So you have sprint qualifying, but it's a random reverse grid. So you have, I think this is what you do. I think you have a free practice session that's kind of like a shakedown. So you arrive at the circuit, you have a shakedown on circuit. You then have sprint qualifying, like immediately after. Like you have a much shorter break. You maybe even have a 2-hour FP1 or something. Have a 2-hour FP1, and then you go into a short break, and then you go into sprint qualifying, and it's random reverse grid. So again, it's kind of like, you know, you want to see what the car's capable of, but there's going to be lots of randomization. You then go into the sprint race that's had a random reverse grid, but where you finish dictates where you start the race, so you have to really do as good as you can. And then you go straight into the race the next day. So I would, yeah, but then you only need 2 days. Do we need 3 days? Do we need so many sessions? Or if you wanted to be proper interesting, you could add some, like, I don't know, I'm not even going to say it, like celebrity races or challenges in between or something like that. Chai, Hulkenberg car Swiss livestream saying something about engine generator and it possibly being the cause of the flames. Yeah, not sure, but definitely did go up in flames. Not good news for Audi. Blacker 5 minutes to go. Yeah, 5 minutes to go, everyone. I'm very excited for this one to see. McLaren sponsored by Etihad. Everyone's jumping in on that McLaren sponsorship. Let's see, I've kind of forgotten how they raced at Miami. I'm not sure I streamed Miami last year. I can't remember. But let's see how the racing is going to be. Is it going to be a lot of DRS into turn 17? Chaya Lindblad starting from pits due to mechanics work on his car longer than expected. I don't know what happened with Lindblad's car that he's confirmed starting from the pits. Try and get lowdown on that. Audi sponsored by Dynamite. There's a sponsorship chain going on. BCRB, no, there's no way Hulkenberg's starting this race. No way. He ain't starting this race. They've got to try and do what they can to get that car ready for qualifying now. That's got to be the big focus for them. Sync up. Yep. Just 3 minutes to go. Track surface slippery in sector 19. That could be from, well, I suspect it's from Hulkenberg's Audi dropping some oil there as well. Some coolant or something out of the car, making it slippery. Should be interesting. And yeah, all the front rows on mediums. Verstappen on scrubbed mediums. Perez on hards, Bottas on hards. So both Cadillacs on hards. And both Aston Martin on softs. So yeah, we didn't do Mamic. I must have a clash. Maybe was I at Formula E last year? I mean, it's Berlin. It's Berlin today, isn't it? Formula E. So yeah, was it Monaco last year? Yes, I think I was. I think I was in Monaco. Great times. Oh my goodness. Monaco motorsport when it's sunny is just so good. It's completely different to like going to Silverstone. You know, if you go to Silverstone, you know the cars are going to be pulling high Gs, they're going to be hitting their maximum and stuff like that. But going to Monaco it's so ludicrous that they race around this place. But they're so well used to dealing with it. It's an interesting combination. Like you can put Formula 1 cars in any city in the world, like 100%. And you can put loads of barriers up and all that. But it's just like the way at Monaco, like the town or the city, whatever it is, very naturally deals with it. The whole thing feels at ease there. The whole thing feels natural there. It's a really special thing to experience. It doesn't feel unusual. It doesn't even feel like, dare I say, like a big deal when you're there. Yeah, we did 24. I think 24 we had some tech issues, if I remember. What headset should I get for Sim Racing VR? It depends what graphics card you've got, really. It depends if you're going Quest, PSVR 2, or then going for the Pimax and big screen ones. I just did a video on... No, I didn't actually. I did a video on the games. I also have a video on the headsets. It's got Lewis Hamilton on there. Bring F1 back to Birmingham. Right now it's covered in potholes for the Super Prix. Maybe that's the way, and then you get Formula 1 to pave over the potholes. And maybe collect your rubbish as well. 5090, I would go Pimax Crystal Super. And I would go Super with the... Oh, well, I like 15 PPD. I would go either with the OLED or the ultra-wide. Maybe ultra-wide. I'm hoping to get a review unit of the Dream soon and then compare that with the Big Screen Beyond. Because I was using my Big Screen Beyond the other day. Yeah, cars are on the way. The thing about the big screen is it's just so light that I actually, in the hot months, I don't mind putting it on my face. Formation lap underway, everyone. Nico Hulkenberg's in the garage. Not where he'd want to be. Would the Super be good for other games? We have to stand up, etc. The head strap for me doesn't, and even in my bucket seat, it's not a problem. I would say the Super is not great for pass-through, so it depends if you want to use a pass-through. Something like the Quest has better pass-through. But honestly, I would recommend checking out my videos, because I've done a lot of thinking and condensed it in those videos. Right, Lando is going to be taking the first grid slot. Did Lindblad get out of the pits? I'm not sure. I'm not sure you do a formation lap, do you? If you start in the pits, which is quite interesting. Because you start a lot colder also. Cell phone dude, 66. Good morning, brother. Welcome. Yeah, think about the straps. I've just been doing some cleaning. You can get third-party straps as well. I can't remember the name of them. They're based in New Zealand, the company. Chat, who do you think is going to lead at the end of the first lap? Do you reckon it's going to be Lando? Is it going to be Kimi? Or is it going to be a Ferrari? Yeah, if Lindblad hasn't left his garage slot yet, it's not looking good. I wonder if Antonelli is going to eat Lando Norris alive here. But we're going to find out. We're going to see. Chat, make sure you hit that like button as well. Ugh. Let me crop this up a little bit. Make sure you hit the hit the like button even. Ooh. There we go. Try and get us to the old 50 likes there. Would be very much appreciated. Right, I'm going to call it as I see it. So I'll be a little bit behind you at the beginning. Wonder if the Astons can do anything here. Maybe the Astons, the shorter the race, the better it works out for the Astons. As everyone's taking their grid slot, and it looks like, yeah, Lindblad is not going to participate in this sprint race. Right, I'm going to be a bit behind you at the beginning. I'm going to call it as I see it. Still waiting for the final drivers to take their grid slots. Kimi Antonelli does have the inside line, even though he's starting P2. Looks hot in the grandstands. Packed grandstands opposite the grid. Packed hospitality above the garages. As it looked like Lance Stroll was very slow to the grid, was getting hassled by the safety car even. But does take his slot as the last car. And as I see it, is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Green flags. 1 red light, 2 red lights, 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 red lights. Red lights go out. Lots of flashing. It's a good start from the McLarens and a terrible start from Kimi. Absolutely terrible start. A good start from the Ferraris as well. And George Russell might emerge in P3, maybe not, maybe just P4 behind George Russell, and Max Verstappen as well has been on the charge. But a fantastic start from the McLarens, and a terrible start from Kimi, who's just gone backwards there. Again, seeing a lot of variability at the start of the GP. There's an Audi, which must be Bortoletto, dicing with a Red Bull, which will be Isaac Hadjar, which is quite interesting to see. So remember, at the start of the Grand Prix, it doesn't really matter like how good your race pace is. It's a bit of a dogfight, and Lando Norris is doing what Lando Norris has done at times now, which is trying to scarp her off. The Alpines are looking decent as well, and there was a Ferrari. Yes, it must have been Charles Leclerc. I think Leclerc got up into P3. Looking at the helmet, yeah, Charles Leclerc in P3, and the 2 Mercedes behind. So the Mercedes at the moment are not even on the podium. And I wonder if George Russell is going to try and pull rank on Kimi Antonelli here. Charita looking like Antonelli just couldn't get his car up to speed. It looked like he really bogged down. Looked like a terrible start. Like he was actually genuinely going backwards. But as the race pace settles in, we'll have to see what happens. So Verstappen's all over Russell. Interestingly, Hamilton couldn't profit, even though he's in the Ferrari from the start. He's in P7, but Charles Leclerc has up to P3. In fact, I say that Hamilton has got past Verstappen. So Hamilton past Verstappen is not good news for Verstappen there and the Red Bull team. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with this Mercedes sandwich. Kimi Antonelli all over Charles Leclerc. Does that mean that they're both going to leapfrog Leclerc, and will Hamilton not be able to put pressure on the Mercedes? Yeah, Lindblad, no start for Lindblad. And Hulkenberg retiring before the race as well. Not good news for Arvid Lindblad. And it is Piastri in P2 at the moment. Right, remember I was predicting Anthony first, Norris second, Russell third. Which looks quite unlikely right now. I think Anthony's been all over Charles Leclerc. Maybe a little bit too impatient. Not getting that clean, decisive move. Is there an issue for Alex Albon? No, don't think so. Leclerc says Kimi is so bad on wheel to wheel. He moved under braking. It's unbelievable. So everyone, all the drivers have a little cry on the radio, don't they? When the race underway, we're very polite out of it. Verstappen biding his time. The Alpines looking like the absolute cream in the midfield here. And Ocon, from a terrible qualifying where he didn't actually get out of Q1, is up to P13. So great from Ocon, bad from Lawson and Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz, I'm sure, is going to leave Williams. Where he goes, I'm not sure. But 100% I reckon he's going to leave Williams. Welcome, Fruit. How is Leclerc doing? You can see there he's in P3 at the moment. 132.7 last lap time. And he has a little gap to Antonelli now, so he's managed to get a second in between him and Kimi Antonelli, but also a second ahead to Piastri as well. And you can see the field is getting a little bit stretched out. 17 laps to go. Hadjar surely will get past Bortoletto. Welcome RMC Clennon S120. Can you explain the big controversy about new regulations? Basically, Formula 1 is now 50-50 battery, 50-50 internal combustion engine. And because the battery is actually not that big, they can't store a ton of energy in the battery. So they need to harvest energy all the time. And sometimes it makes sense to harvest energy at the end of the straight rather than to try to keep accelerating, given aerodynamics and everything. And it means they actually slow down near the end of straights to harvest. Was Mercedes not allowed to make upgrades from Ami? I think a lot of the front-run teams have made upgrades. It's just they've all made upgrades. So it's about your comparative performance. Let's look at the McLarens here. The McLarens are really scarpering off. Welcome, fifth guy of fast food. Norris, Piastri, Leclerc is dropping off here. Hamilton is over George Russell, but to be honest, there's a bit of a Leclerc train. Little bit of a Leclerc train. Surely Kimi's going to try and get past him. Is he going to do it on this straight? Well, he's within the second. Let's see if Kimi with a DRS... No, actually, there is no DRS. What am I talking about? I'm talking about old news. There ain't no DRS, but it is a slipstream. It's a bit of a legacy chatter there. Thanks, RMC. Don saying Mercedes said they bring their upgrade to Canada. What are Aston Martin doing? When are Aston Martin bringing their upgrades? That's what I want to know. At the moment, McLaren are absolutely controlling this. And I just wonder, were we too hasty in saying that McLaren's not going to win the championship this season? Maybe it was the obvious thing as soon as we knew that the Mercedes engine was very powerful. Chai, do you reckon there's any drivers making a pit stop due to heat conditions? I don't think so, but I don't know for sure. I mean, to me, it seems unlikely that the Aston Martins are going to finish this race. Berger, I think they said Mercedes are going to upgrade after Miami. Well, there is something called a duo, additional development upgrade opportunities. That's really meant to help teams like Honda or Aston Martin because they're a Honda engine. Yeah, Kimi just had a terrible start. It's one of the worst starts I've ever seen in my life. George Russell was well ahead of him. How George Russell didn't keep that position, I don't know. Because he was so far ahead of Kimi, but then Kimi just, in the braking phase, was able to get back alongside. I think if I was George Russell, would have shown Kimi the door there. And would have opened up the corner. So, not super impressed by the racecraft from George Russell there. Considering he had a rocket start, did not capitalise on it. Now he's behind Kimi, who also can't get past Charles Leclerc. So this Mercedes magic might be waning a little bit. Oh, Verstappen was in the walls. Oh my goodness, Verstappen was in the middle of a three-way sandwich. Verstappen just absolutely bodied his way through. I think he bullied out Hamilton. So Hamilton went round the outside of Verstappen. Probably thought it was done, but Verstappen was still there. And Verstappen, oh my goodness, yeah, he's absolutely bullied him. Verstappen has. Almost an overtake off the circuit, but not quite. It was just like Verstappen was just barreling through essentially. So good to see some hard racing. Starfort, do you think Peugeot join F1? I think they should rejoin F1. And obviously, if they need a content creator, I have to be front and center of the queue, right? Maybe somewhere in Peugeot HQ there's already a file that's like getting ready for Formula 1, and I'm in it. Gmail says, looks like McLaren dominating the year. Let's see. I mean, hard to argue with you. Albeit Leclerc is now again stretching away from Antonelli. So can Charles Leclerc catch up with the McLarens? Because if the Ferrari has better race pace than McLaren, that's very interesting. Antonelli with quite a few lap times deleted. I wouldn't be surprised if he's getting a black and white flag. Verstappen, I can't really brake. The rear axle is jumping up and down. So Verstappen's not happy. He's down in P7. We've got a video coming on the Motorsport channel, Formula Fan TV, all about Red Bull. It's going to be very interesting. And look at the difference between Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas. Like, Perez is doing so much better than Bottas. Chaya sounds dangerous for Verstappen. Yeah, potentially. Yeah, agreed. Not being able to brake properly. If he has a massive accident and someone gets hurt, it's not exactly going to look great, is it? On the radio he's saying can't brake properly. And the team's like, yeah, copy, cool. Cheers, bro. Carry on. Hamilton is chasing down on Russell, I think it's fair to say. Half a second off George Russell. And Verstappen is on the back of this pack. Can I call it? Are we seeing a Kimi Antonelli train here? Is this a Kimi train? Oh, it looks like it's close between Kimi and George Russell into that braking into 17. It looks like Russell just got ahead. So the Mercedes surely are battling, which is great news for Charles Leclerc. I wonder if Antonelli will try and get George Russell back. Mercedes have got to work out some rules of engagement here between Russell and Kimi Antonelli. So what happened to 17? Lando was well ahead, then Oscar, then Charles, and then George Russell at the last moment popped out into 17, and a little bit of a drift on exit actually as he got the power down. Stroll also holding off Alfonso. Oh, Kimi, wow. Kimi on the home straight where the pit is got alongside George, and George completely cut him up. It's very dangerous, small margins, like red arrows there. P1 says Charles is closing. 1.1 behind as Verstappen gets past Hamilton. That's a surprise. Verstappen's got past Hamilton. And Antonelli is also back ahead of George Russell. So how's that happened with George Russell? Surely Russell made a mistake. Surely a mistake from Russell, which would be absolutely huge. No, round the outside. I think Hamilton. Oh my goodness me! So Antonelli went round the outside of Russell, and at the same corner, Verstappen just behind went up the inside of Hamilton. But I think Verstappen may have done that off circuit. Don saying he has to get the place back. You're talking about Verstappen? Yeah, it looks like he may have given it back, or at least Hamilton's got to pass Verstappen again. I'm sure Hamilton on the radio. Yeah, Hamilton saying Max overtook me going off track. So Kimi was able to go clean around the outside. Whereas Verstappen on the same corner dove up the inside, but at the exit of 17, he did just go wide, Max, and he gave the place back to Hamilton. Although they have lost a lot of time there squabbling to George Russell and Kimi Antonelli. Yeah, so Kimi went all the way, this is at 11, Kimi went all the way around the outside. At the same corner, Verstappen just dove up the inside, a little bit like you see at the end of the big straight at Circuit of the Americas, and completed the move off circuit. In fact, identical move, maybe it's the coloured paint on the exit, really, to what happened in 2021 at Abu Dhabi when Verstappen overtook Hamilton very early on in the race, if anyone remembers. And Hamilton went off the circuit and kept the position. Those were the days. Those were big stakes. What, 11 laps to go here? Hamilton and Verstappen still going at it, and it looks like Verstappen has just got past in 17. So Verstappen overtaking Hamilton again. So good battle between these two, for old time's sake. But I think Charles Leclerc might be feeling pretty good at the moment, because he's the car that's consistently been up there, whether it's a Mercedes or a McLaren ahead of him. He's been there. Yep, late move from Verstappen 17 on the brakes, no lock up, gets it done, squirms the power down, and it's now to see whether Hamilton can get the move back on Max Verstappen or not. Not too much going on at the front of the GP, it has to be said. Not too much at the front. Track surface slippery in sector 11. Not sure why that is. Kyla Pinto being told that as well. Will we get a yellow flag out? Has something come off the circuit? Turn 11 out, 1 mid from the barrier. Yeah, it looks like some debris. Maybe contact between Hamilton and Verstappen, to be honest. I wonder whether we'll get a VSC here. If there is some debris around turn 11. We'll have to see. Or maybe they were able to clear it. Team McLaren discovered another cheat code like they did last year. McLaren just looking strong at the moment. Do we think Leclerc is going to get into Oscar Piastri? Because that would be sensational. That would be absolutely sensational. And Hamilton, meanwhile, just half a second behind Max Verstappen as well. So, some great, I've said, some good battles here between Verstappen and Hamilton. What do we make of it? Do we care too much if it's like super clipping involved, or is it the same for both drivers? How do we feel about this battle between Verstappen and Hamilton? Like, there are overtakes happening. So what was this debris? Oh, something I think came off the Haas of Esteban Ocon's car. Looks like an end plate. Front ring, rear ring. Oh my goodness, Behrman noticed it. Oh, Behrman drove over it. Behrman drove over it and moved it from the inside of the track to the outside of the track. So one Haas driving over another. Catherine, what's your application? Just good drive. Alright, Kimi and George Russell setting some fast lap times at the moment. Are they going to be able to catch up with Charles Leclerc and Oscar Piastri with 9 laps to go? They're only 3.5 seconds behind. Antonelli with another lap time deleted. Yeah, black and white flag for Antonelli. I wouldn't have, surely Antonelli's not going to get a penalty here, which would be very costly for the race, considering he is leading the championship, right? So championship leader Kimi Antonelli just needs to kind of like, you know, consolidate some points here. Shai says they're battling, but keeping things fair with Verstappen giving the place back when it's clearly at fault. Yeah, I think it's good to see. I mean, it's great to see Hamilton and Verstappen battling this for obvious reasons. A lot of nostalgia. Norris is just stretching things out, and the lap times look very consistent from what I can see. Might be the same with Piastri. Leclerc just set his fast lap time session. Same with Kimi Antonelli as well. So the pace is picking up at the moment. But yeah, confirmed. Black and white flag for Kimi Antonelli. So he can't afford another track limit violation. And I think he's used up his grace a bit too easily, I would say. A bit too early. No Mercedes podium. At the moment, there is no Mercedes on the podium. Well, there is a Mercedes engine in the McLaren cars, but... I know what you mean. Yeah, I think it's quite early because just one mistake now. You can't account for mistakes. Could be what, a three place penalty? Maybe a grid penalty for the race as well. I'm not sure. Depends what the stewards want to do. The ClickRot is saying Bottas might get lapped. Oh, I'm not sure, you know. 7 laps to go. I'm not sure. It might get close, but I don't think he's going to get lapped. But the fact, if you're in danger of getting lapped in a sprint race, although I know, yeah. The Aston Martins, to be fair, have split the Cadillacs. I mean, I guess anything for Aston Martin at this point, they've got to take. They've got to be happy with. Hamilton now has dropped off a little bit from Verstappen, 1.7 off. Verstappen's doing his best lap times. Verstappen was actually 7 tenths quicker, or 6 tenths quicker than Russell last lap. Yeah, I don't think it's a million miles away from getting lapped, but I don't think it will happen. But let's see. I mean, unless that pace really degrades. I mean, what's Bottas up to? 136. I mean, he's more than 4 seconds lap slower. So 7 laps to go. He is going to be about 30 seconds off still, potentially. Is there 30 seconds between Bottas and Norris? I'm not sure. I'm not sure there is 30 seconds there, to be honest. But it could be about 30 exactly. Can anyone time the gap? Get the stopwatch out. I'm going to do it. Oh, my phone. Okay, I would do it, but I don't have a stopwatch. Someone get the old stopwatch out and time the gap between Bottas and Norris. Because if it's 25 seconds, I reckon he could be in danger. Front wing is out for one of the Williams. So, wonder whether that's Sainz or Albon that's going to come in here. ClickRock says 32 seconds if the chart is correct. So, I don't think it's going to be a million miles off, considering he's 4 seconds a lap slower. And maybe 4 and a bit slower. Albon comes in for that front wing change. Yeah, Hamilton's dropped off Verstappen. Leclerc is still there or thereabouts with Piastri. About a second off. And Verstappen is lapping a little bit quicker than Russell. Again, Russell has not got the pace of Antonelli here. Russell's not got the pace of Kimi. Which is a bit disappointing for George fans. What's happening to Albon? Well, there was a nose cone out. We know that a nose cone takes longer now to replace with all the active aero on the front. He is leaving the pits now. So our question is Alex Albon going to get lapped? Well, the thing is about Albon is that his pace wasn't, I say as bad. Carlos Sainz 35.5, 3 seconds off. So it's 15 seconds. Is there 15 seconds between Albon and Norris? I mean, I guess Albon's going to be on fresh tyres. Well, he's on scrubbed mediums, actually. We'll see if anyone else jumps into the pits, but I'll be surprised. I mean, to be fair to Cadillac, it's specifically Bottas who's in the 36s, high 36s. Perez in the high 35s. Again, I don't know how there could be so much of a difference between Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas. Like, it's not even close. Charles Leclerc's still there. He's within a second of Piastri. There's no DRS this year. Basically, I feel like the difference between the overtaking car and the car to be overtaken has got less as they've removed DRS. DRS was a big swing factor. Leclerc half a second off. So maybe Ferrari are managing their race pace here. Dare I say Ferrari could be sandbagging a little bit. They could be doing a little bit of sandbagging, potentially. How many seconds are Hamilton away from Verstappen? He is about 3 seconds away from Verstappen. We'll have to see what Albon's laps are going to be like. Although his middle sector last time was actually faster than Lando. So let's see on that fresh rubber. So I said I'm glad to see Verstappen has found his pace again. It seems to be much better. Well, you can physically see the Mercedes ahead of him. So he might be like, yeah, by the end of the season, I'm gonna be right there. What about Piastri to Norris? You can see it's 3.2 seconds Piastri to Norris. So Lando Norris is kind of showing Oscar Piastri who's boss here a little bit, I'd say. Is what's happening as there's 4 laps to go. It'll be 3 laps to go when Lando goes over the line. It's funny because we were expecting Mercedes domination this season, and now we have McLaren domination. To me, it doesn't feel like a big change because we were used to McLaren domination the last couple of seasons. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's not like if this was Ferrari dominating now, it'd be so much more exciting. But sport is sport. We shouldn't try and preempt it. So 3 laps to go. Leclerc dropping off a little bit. Looks like the driver's dropping off. I like Duck saying, yeah, I thought it would be Mercedes' year. Albon does his fastest lap of the race at 1:33.5 for Alex Albon. Let's look at the midfield as well. So you've got the Alpines there who are cruising. Hadjar hasn't been able to get through. Hadjar says that he's been struggling as well, being so far off Verstappen. Then there's Bortoletto in the lonely Audi. But then Ocon, Behrman, Sainz, Lawson, Perez, Stroll, Alfonso, Bottas, Albon. It's just very stodgy in that back end, right? What happened during the vacation? Depends which team you're talking about. I think at the top end, I'm sure all of the teams have brought upgrades, but they're all progressing, if that makes sense. Plus, we've had the rule changes as well. Going to be 2 to go when Lando goes over the line. It's very close to Albon now. So Albon is 84 seconds behind Lando, and the lap is a 1:32, which to me indicates about a 15-second gap if my maths is correct. No, is it a 5-second gap? Sorry, 5-second gap. Am I right? 90 seconds is yeah. So about that, but it's not quite going to happen in terms of a lapping in the sprint race. Oh, Hadjar and it would be Colapinto have been battling. Hadjar's passed Colapinto, so Hadjar's got that done. Splits the Alpines. Hamilton's dropped off so much. I just wonder whether that's deliberate. Welcome, a duck. Good to see you. Yeah, good persistence from Hadjar there. He's in that second Red Bull, so he's got to try and do what he can to bring that Red Bull back to the front.
Keep trying.
I'm sure all the feedback he's giving is going to be really helpful for the team, because they can't just rely on Max Verstappen's feedback. So it's going to be last lap when Norris goes over the line. What do we make of the sprint race, everyone? I mean, to me, the most notable thing about the sprint race was the poor start from Kimi. And then the bitter battling between Verstappen and Hamilton. Other than that, I just... Ooh, Leclerc went very deep. other than that, I just wonder what the purpose of these sprint races are, because I don't know. It's the sprint races. If this is the thing, if the racing in Formula 1 is fantastic, then the sprint races make sense. I think Formula 1 believe that their races are fantastic because they believe their own hype. But not all the races are fantastic, and therefore some of the sprint races are going to be terrible. Don says, great from McLaren perspective. Yeah, this confirms the pace that McLaren have. But from a neutral perspective, I don't think this has been a crazy one. I'm already turning my eye to qualifying for the main race, but then we've already had a bit of a taste for sprint qualifying. So Flatka says very consistent, aka boring. Yeah, I'm sorry I haven't been able to bring you a really exciting race here, but there's no strategy. And I don't even think there's been a ton of overtaking. I don't think there's been more overtaking than previous year sprint races, to be honest. So whatever Formula 1 are doing, I think they really need to think about it. Because if you're a new fan to Formula 1 and this is your entry point, it's not good. It's like if I released, obviously good videos, but it's like if I also release bad videos just to like have volume on my channel. Well, the first time someone sees my channel, they might see a boring video, and then they're not going to come back again. Right, there we go. Lando wins the sprint race. Congratulations, Lando. Oscar second. So Zach Brown's going to be very happy. Leclerc third, I think is great for Leclerc. And Anthony did finish actually quite a bit ahead of George Russell. Right, chat that. I think we need to talk about the sprint races later, because that really. Democo's not up to you. Yeah, I think you scratch sprint races, bring back fast lap points. Wemby, not a very exciting race. No, not. Sorry, that was not an exciting race. F1 wanted the ping pong racing, but everyone complained. This is what we get. That race for me will not live long in the memory in terms of the quality of the racing. And Don Barracuda, thank you so much for the 5 memberships. Dina's got them, Juan's got them, Funky's got them, Dave Sands got them, Alex has got them. Chat, please put your claps in the chat for Don Barracuda gifting the 5 memberships. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Thank you so much, Don. What a legend there. That's my highlight. I think the race itself is just it needs like some circuits need strategy more than others. If you're going to go to a circuit that can be a proper nice sprint circuit and the cars can race, but you can't take these cars and put them in a sprint circuit. I think it's a bit like taking NASCAR cars and put them in a tiny oval where they can't really do anything. Yeah, I've been making some content saying maybe Formula 1 should go back to V8 turbos, but even that's not going to fix the racing. Maybe they should do these multi-class. Maybe honestly do the multi-class to F2, just lean into it. Prathu, I think the last time I remember F1 being competitive between 1 and 2 teams were Alonso, Hamilton, Vettel. Those years were regarded as meme years, but a lot of them went down to the wire. And there were some big characters there. There were more characters than you get now. Thank you so much, John Barracuda. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for 5 gifted memberships. It's great to see you gifting them. People in the chat I saw yesterday especially really appreciated them. We can share the emojis. Have a little bit like some membership vibes. It's awesome. So I appreciate it. SNXP GT races are more entertaining right now. I'm okay. I'm okay with not every race being exciting, as long as the season as a whole functions. I'm okay with that. So what I'm going to say is I'm going to go back for qualifying whenever qualifying is. Let's see how the race goes, and let's see whether any of the concerns have been like addressed from for the actual race. Because there is a story here, which is that, hang on, well, Mercedes might not win. Who's going to win the championship? We don't know. And that's quite exciting. And we want to see. We want to see whether Lando is going to get pole and if he's going to win the race, for example. Maybe Lando going head-to-head with George Russell is going to be really exciting. So we'll see. Chai, I do know I'm not a fan of street races. The lack of opportunity to overtake means I'm just going to get video drivers going around the circuit. Yeah, I think in a sprint race you need to have both the incentive to overtake and also for that to be facilitated by the cars on the track. About 9 o'clock UK time, yeah. So we'll go live, I think, about 8:30 or so. It's a shame the Macarena wing was just a gimmick, wasn't a major boost. Yeah, seem to be having quite a few gimmicks, I would say, at the moment. Right, everyone, I'm going to end the stream there, and I'll see you later. Fingers crossed for some more exciting qualifying. Let's see. As Brian Tyler's already on the decks. What's that thing from the Alpine thing? More power. What was the Alpine thing from the F1 launch? More power. Go higher. Live louder. What was the song called? Go higher? We'll find it. Right, everyone. I'll see you later.